What's raging, gamers? Welcome to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. How you doing, HenricK the Wreck?
What can I say? We're back. It's Wednesday, and we're here to talk about some video games.
Yes, we are, man. I hope you had an amazing Thanksgiving break. You know, I was actually working that day, but a few riffraff at a liquor store sometimes. You're going to deal with some turkey lurkeys here and there. Even though we're all so thankful to be here on planet Earth, right? I mean, come on now. This is a beautiful place. But HenricK, how was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, it was great. Played some video games, had some good food. You know how it is.
Hey, come on now. Hey, you know what? That was me literally right after work. Come on. That is like the best relief from all the mayhem. But we are so excited to have you, the gamers, always joining us live every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because without your guys' support, this show would not be possible. So we always like to start off the show with the bang and show you guys a lot of viral content that is circulating all across the World Wide Web. And have you guys been seeing this viral trend that's been picking up ever since Call of Duty Black Ops 6 came into fruition? When your girlfriend breaks out a bingo card, that's what they're doing now with this Call of Duty, when you are playing this video game, and she starts filling out boxes like hates on his own game and gives direction. Well, it's time to face the harsh truth. Your gameplay isn't just predictable. It's a spectator sport she's already mastered. And now they're turning you into a TikTok viral clip. Let's go ahead and roll it.
What the? Spider monkeyed across my screen, but I somehow found him. Bruh. Where? Dude, I'm gonna lose it. I'm actually gonna lose it.
Bingo! They cut out the moment where one of your boys tells you something really sus in the chat. Because that does happen.
Yeah, quite a bit, especially when you've been seeing some of these new prop hunt gameplay that's been circulating right now. But I'm definitely a lot of what that person is entailing in front of that PC monitor. A lot of those same vocabulary is coming out of my same mouth as well. But we also got comments. It ain't Call of Duty bingo without a certain word. Ooh.
Oh.
What is that word? Is it, are you
dog
wet and flop like a fish?
It's the gamer word. I can't say it though.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be married if she was this interested in me. Do you feel like that's a bit much though, HenricK?
I don't know. I mean, I appreciate the interest, but also like we could do separate things.
No, I love this. I love this. So this gives me the freedom to be able to play my video games. And if she gets a kick out of playing bingo card, whatever fits you, girl. Come on now. And she's awesome. Not making fun of him, making fun with him. See,
one way to good look about it. Yeah,
exactly, HenricK. And I know when it comes around Call of Duty, whether you're a PC wizard or a console crusader, gaming demands full focus, and because multitasking mid-game is basically asking for a respawn, there's always going to be a gamer out there that's going viral for making it look way too easy, and you'd think that this guy had a cheat codes for real life. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, we are about to roll the clip.
Get shit on, chair player. Holy dude, clip that.
Oh! Imagine you come home from work and you get killed by this guy and clipped on his YouTube channel.
And then you see your gamer tag.
Yeah.
Right next to it. I mean, I love this guy. This is probably one of the more innovative ones. I mean, yeah, we've seen that one girl earlier this year where she simulates pain. She's playing VR and stuff like that. But like, can you stimulate pain and ride a unicycle at the same time? Just asking for a friend. I don't know. That would be pretty iconic. But let's go right on into the comments. Why do you say chair player like a slur?
He actually really did, though. Yeah.
I know. Get shit on, chair player. I'm like, what are you supposed to be doing? He's standing up in the office all day. What if he works at fast food? Leave him alone. Bro has omni movement in and off the game at the same time. Oh, so HenricK, we have not been playing Black Ops 6 properly this entire time.
Yeah, we had to emulate the movement in real life at the same time as in the game,
Genius. And last, personally, I'm a standing player. It's great to see the wheel players finally get some recognition. Chair players are too meta. What? It's not even me. Like, did you grow up with just the Wii, only playing the bowling game 24/7? Like, who actually stands up when they're playing video games? Like, what game
Maybe
makes
they
you
have one
stand
of
out of your
those
chair?
standing desks, Chris, okay? You got to get some standing time in, too.
Actually, to be fair, Madden does that to me a lot of the time. Especially when there's like something stupid that just happens, and you just, what? Are you kidding me? And then I don't know, something about it seems to like just rejuvenate the soul and get you right back on track. A1 in the game. But this is actually really, really cool. When I was in Japan, I didn't get the opportunity to go to the Nintendo Museum because it's in Kyoto, Japan, as I was in Tokyo. But there's a gigantic N64 controller so big it takes 2 players to handle. I mean, it's like you're stepping into the movie of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. So forget the co-op gameplay. This thing turns pressing A into a full body workout. So let's go ahead and roll that clip.
I got an idea for the speedrunner community. You guys got to go speedrun Mario 64 now with that controller.
That would actually be pretty legendary. Now you're giving like Kai Cenat or Mr. Beast or any one of those, just maybe we need a better video game streamer than that, right? Maybe not those 2 guys. So I think a lot of us are kind of low-key sick and tired of seeing them 24/7. But, hey, if they can make it happen, come on, let's do it. But it's the Z button that worries me. Yeah. It might be a 3-person team.
Yeah.
Now that we think about it.
Crouch down and press that.
I mean, if you're the joystick player, do you handle the Z button or would it be the people that are doing the button mashing?
I think you would need another person.
You need another person. Now try Mario Party 1 mini game where you're spinning the stick. Yeah, that would be
there you go.
I like that. Innovative for sure. And okay, what's the speedrun record with the 2-player oversized controllers? Yep, there you go, HenricK.
There you
People
go. There you
are
go.
already wanting to see this happen. I mean, we've seen the flute in Elden Ring. Now we need to see a gigantic N64 controller. Come on, somebody's got to be able to invest in the hard-earned dinero and pleasure us gamers around the world. HenricK the Wreck, are you ready to rock and roll?
Absolutely, and it's time for our famous section, pause or repeat.
Hey, let's get it.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Dragon Age: The Veilguard. It has been a long while since the last Dragon Age game, 10 years to be exact, so this game is the series' chance to bring new fans as well as old fans back to the fold. But did they drop the ball, or was it worth the wait? Let's find out by first looking over the gameplay. Dragon Age: The Veilguard is an action-adventure RPG taking place in the world of Thedas. In this game, you take control of your main character Rook, who you get to customize to your liking. Alongside Rook, there is a cast of supporting companions that you will be able to party up with in a group of 3 to tackle the quests in the game. The gameplay loop consists of exploring an area as you complete quest objectives, finishing simple puzzles, and of course, fighting enemies and even bosses. Combat is centered around Rook, but you are able to also issue commands to your party members, who are also able to combo abilities together. As you defeat enemies, you will level up and flesh out your skill tree, eventually going into a specialization as well. The skill tree also unlocks different abilities to use alongside passive upgrades, the former which is used by gaining momentum by attacking enemies. The gameplay loop falls into place fairly early on as you unlock your damage rotation quite quickly. But how does the story fare alongside the gameplay? The story follows Rook and their companions as they try to save the world. Everything starts with you chasing the ancient elf Solus, who is trying to destroy the Veil, a prison for the elven gods, and transfer them to a quote better place. Inadvertently, the elven gods Elganon and Gillenane are released, and Solus is instead imprisoned. It is now up to Rook and friends to stop them from spreading the blight across the world. But now the question still stands: pause or repeat?
Do you put your hands on your hips a lot, Chris? Because I know I don't.
I put my hands on my head.
And for some reason, this character, every conversation, regardless of what dialogue option you pick, he's just like, well, it's a good thing we're here because we're going to go stop them. It's like he has such a huge main character syndrome. and it just ends up being really cringy. What did you feel about this, Chris?
Well, I feel like a lot of this game is a bit kind of cringy. I mean, yes, it looks very, very flashy. You know, it seems expensive, but I feel like everyone's like leaving themselves like scratching their heads, wondering, who is this even made for? Like, it feels like that HBO adaptation of Harry Potter series, and you're like, who are you even making this for? Because like we are so sold on the Legendary franchise that like made it so great to begin with. Or like you can even compare it to the Lord of the Rings adaptation of Rings of Power. You're like, oh God, I don't want to see any of this. And so when I start to play this game, I start to wonder, like, rated M for mature. Who is your audience? Because the story plays out like it was written for kids. I don't know about you, HenricK. It's like,
No, yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. Like when you compare the story in this iteration to the previous games had such a darker take on the world. You really felt like the stakes were there, and that everyone who is in this universe are really just fighting for their life every single day because, you know, some great calamity could happen to their town at any moment. And in this one, it's like, yeah, we're going to go fight these two gods. We're going to chase after them like this is a Scooby-Doo episode.
yeah, you
And it's like,
completely nailed
this
it.
is a completely different feel than what I'm expecting from a Dragon Age game.
But why does every fantasy lore game always feel like it's just now a direct knockoff of Skyrim? It's like, all right, kiddos, here's the scoop. Dragon Age, the Veilguards, not one, but two gods. They got bored and they declared war on the entire universe because HenricK, sharing is hard. And it's like, and then they go, it's up to you, the Rook, to clean up their universal tantrum in a story that's totally mature. I pinky promise. And then all of a sudden it's got a lot of that like RPG elements in the game that let you be whoever you want to be. And I think that's really, really cool. I mean, especially in the beginning of the game, you could get very lost just playing with the character creator for over an hour before you even launch into the game. But then, you know, there's another round of, you know, the pronoun wars for the anti-woke trolls, you know, battling their own gender identity crisis. So I don't know what the hell is going on. But like, how did you feel about the whole 7 companions? Like, I just felt like I wasn't even invested at all. I know they got their own drama-filled backstory. You know, you will rise together to become the Veilguard. But like, I don't know. It just didn't scream unity for me. I felt like I was in a group therapy on the battlefield and just didn't really care too much about any of them.
You know, that is the thing. It's like, I appreciate you gave us a lot of options for companions to go do things with, but when you have that many side characters, it's hard to get invested in all of them. You end up being only feeling like you want to get invested in like a couple of them at most, and they have side quests, but do you really feel like you want to do the side quests to a character you don't really interact with?
The side quests are so lame in this game too, because it's always like, it seems like they're coming right across as like the PS3 style, where like you're only going to do the side quests if it's on the way to your main objective, if that makes sense.
And the rewards
like, you're not
are never
gonna
really worth it either. It's not, it's like, oh, here's some experience and maybe an item that you might not use.
And the world is so beautiful, but like the exploration is kind of like little lame. I mean, I kind of laughed. Like, I know
it's
a lot of
linear.
gamers. Yeah, and a lot of people are already kind of pointing out, like, they're like, again, it's a mature audience. Like, we don't need you to literally tell us, hey, that green jar is full of health. Like, why can't we just discover it on our own? I felt like I was playing the old school God of War trilogy all over again. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
you know, with all the color schematics,
indicating
like,
everything you got to do and where you got to go. Yeah,
it would have been a little bit cooler if they kind of kept to that allure, and you just never know what you're going to find in each kind of jar or, you know, table you're going to break and etc. But it is kind of cool that you get up to 3 class options to choose from when it comes to your play style. You got the warrior, the mage, and the rogue. And I don't know about you, HenricK, like, what was your combat style of choice when you entered the Dragon Age, the Veilguard?
So I went through the game as a rogue, and I picked this because, you know, I am a fan of the action combat in video games, and you know, at least initially, the action combat in this game was pretty fun because it looks very flashy, and I'm just in my element at this point, right?
Yeah.
Then a few hours in, you kind of get into the groove of like, okay, I have my abilities of what I'm going to do for the rest of the game, and at this point, it's not really fun anymore because the enemies you're going up against are just the same enemies over and over again.
Yeah, bit repetitive.
And over again, and it's like, just get me to the next story segment, guys, because
but that's the thing, though.
Anything new to me.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. You actually just kind of finished what I was about to say too. It's the story element, right? And like I think that's when they probably should have focused on some of these enemies and not being so repetitive, because I think they heavily focused on the story, but then the story is just so cringeworthy, and the dialogue just felt like it was written by a Sims writer. Oh wait. It was. And then, along the way, you do encounter 6 factions. And that's why I kind of made that joke about Skyrim, because, again, it's just like any kind of RPG element, right? Your Rook's backstory, the dialogue choices, and how much chaos you can cause on this already messed up continent will be dictated by your dialogue choices, because why United Land when you could just set it further on fire? And I think that's kind of the element that they were trying to go for. But like, believe it or not, HenricK, this is my first time ever jumping into the Dragon Age series. And so if I just felt I didn't want to go back. And so like knowing that this is created by the studio BioWare that makes one of my favorite games, Mass Effects, I'm kind of getting a little worried. Like, I don't know if this is like something that they just focused on doing something over here, because I kept hearing that like Dragon Age was this game about nudity, genocide, gore, and murder, but now it's like the Teletubbies. Like, talk about a plot twist. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on. I mean, how can you go from Game of Thrones to a show where it's the biggest conflict is whether Tinky Winky left the bag in the tubby custard? Like, I don't know what the heck is going on with this game, and it's just
well, maybe that's an indication that you should go try one of the original games in the series, because it is very different. And I feel like I'm not the only one that thinks that as well, like that the previous games just took a darker and better turn on the telling of this universe than this one. Because it's like you say, the universe is like you're being transported from Game of Thrones to like Teletubbies, because there's not any feeling of dread that you're getting from the previous games,
connection with the character. Like, I just go, wow, this world is so immersive. It's so beautiful to look at, but who exactly is this game for? And that's my biggest problem. Like, the story comes across like Days of Our Lives. I'm the guy that likes to invest in the cutscenes. I felt myself button mashing through everything. I was like, I'm so sick and tired of hearing anybody speak. And then obviously we covered it previously in the past with the whole side quest with the Bob and the pronoun things. And that's like nothing about this game. It's the actual story that hurts. Forget the whole other nonsense.
Tiny part of it.
Super tiny part. I'm talking about the overall premise of the whole story. Just didn't really sell it for me. I could care less about it right now. And I think that's kind of the rumors about BioWare. They're just kind of moving on, focusing on Mass Effect, not going to do another DLC, and I can see why. And it shows. And so my verdict, HenricK, it's a pause. I mean, if it does go on sale, definitely jump in. I think you'll have a lot of fun with the combat. Not so much of the RPG tactics or tactical elements are so much in it. I mean, yeah, you could pause the screen, for a moment while you're in combat to switch up a new skill or an element to bring in. But other than that, I don't know. What were you vibing with it?
Yeah, it's a pause for me as well. There's not really a point in me going back and repeating this game, because I feel like I've gotten everything out of it that I would at this point. And it is a long game. There's other things out there that you can dedicate your time to that will be a better experience. Even the older Dragon Age games, I'd say. And I do agree. If it goes on sale, maybe then it'll be worth it, because it might be worth it to go through at least and try and see if you can get invested a little bit, but not for $70.
It's a hefty price tag. So I'm assuming what I'm thinking you're gonna say.
It's a pause.
Yeah. So you guys definitely heard it from us. Dragon Age: The Veilguard is a pause, but we got so much more left here on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. So HenricK the Wreck, are you ready to rock and roll?
Absolutely. So let's rage, all right?
Hey, let's get it. What's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK the Wreck and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. Congrats, gamers. You've survived another year of digital dungeons, pixelated battles, and rage-inducing boss fights. December is usually the calm before the storm, unless that storm is just a few big game releases trying to sneak in before the new year like they're crashing your party without an invite. So the first game that we got, that I'm telling you, it's going to be a must-play game, inspired by Overwatch. Marvel Rivals takes a PvP action to a whole new level with its multiverse roster and free-to-play setup. Zooming around as Iron Man or causing chaos as Venom is a blast, but it's the team-up abilities, destructible environments, and the rapid-fire action, coupled with some seriously slick art, that makes this game worth ending the year on a high note. So if you guys haven't seen some of that gameplay for Marvel Rivals, let's go ahead and take a look.
Hey, if you ever wanted to play as some of these characters, this is your opportunity to do
Right.
so.
Especially in an online format, you know, like we've always been kind of suppressed to our Spider-Man in its own franchise game.
Mhm.
Now you can actually bring that out from the Fortnite universe.
And this
into
comes
its own
out
separate thing.
in a couple days. It comes out on the 6th, actually.
Obviously, it's a free-to-play game, but we all know what free-to-play means. There's going to be a battle pass, but they're kind of starting this new term, legacy battle pass. That's what the understanding that I'm getting, is that basically they're kind of going what Kill This Justice League was trying to do, which I think is a smart move, especially when you're part of the Marvel universe. Like and essentially how it would work is the battle pass doesn't just die away once the season ends. Like you have the opportunity, once you pay for that battle pass, to finish it whenever you want. I think that's a very, very smart move, because what if there was a hero out there, like, I don't know, or an anti-hero like Loki or Deadpool, and you're like, oh my gosh, I missed that window. I would be furious too. And so I think Fortnite kind of has that luxury, because like some of these new Fortnite characters are pretty freaking lame. Like I could care less with this new season right now with the Ronin and stuff. Like they're all super lame. Godzilla, I want. All the other ones I could care less. But like I think that's the thing when you're dealing with comic book IP, right, HenricK? Like you're gonna want them. And so I think that's a smart move on them. So do you think that's gonna be a successful model for this game?
Well, it doesn't play into the FOMO aspect, but at the same time,
True.
if the game is good, and that's a really pro-consumer aspect of the game, I think people will appreciate it.
That's a good point. And we just want to remind you guys, the gamers out there, that Marvel Rivals launches on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series XS on December. Then the second game that's going to be highly anticipated in the month of December, and I got to say, it's been a minute since Lara Croft has had to share the spotlight with anybody, because don't you worry, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is here to fill that big budget adventure void. It's a globetrotting romp from Wolfenstein developer Machine Games. I love that series, HenricK. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of faith that they can do some justice. But then again, you know, we're going to just have to wait and see, because this is the new indie game that looks like a bold mix of action, storytelling, and mystery, just without the giant boulder chasing you. Probably. I have a feeling I can sneak it in.
We'll have to see how this is. I know a lot of people are excited that a fan favorite voice actor, Troy Baker, is going to be in this. So he'll probably do a great job. I think he always does. So
yeah, I agree. I think the only thing that I'm a little worried about is like when I do see some of this like newer gameplay that's you know, coming out as it gets closer to the launch date. And yes, I'm very excited that it will also be coming to the PS5, but we're going to have to wait until the new year. Sucks for us. But just like, I think the thing is, it's like, doesn't some of the gameplay to you, HenricK, kind of look like Callisto Protocol? Like it's a little like,
like it's like missing something. It's
like
missing
even when
like the little live aspect of things.
Yeah, because like I know when you play the Jedi Order, it looks a little bit more realistic. The wall climbing, that looked a little stiff. You know, and so like some of that kind of stuff is just like, I'm just praying that it's going to be good. I know it goes from like first person to third person, as you can clearly see in some of those clips. And so Indiana Jones and the Great Circle launches on PC and Xbox Series XS on December 9th. So yeah, it's going to be be coming real early, just in time for the Christmas holidays. But this one, man, I remember as a kid playing the OG version back on the Windows. Man, it must have been Windows 98. Sorry, Dad, it blew up so many of your computers growing up as a kid, probably trying to download Delta Force. It's because, we've had years of Battlefield and Call of Duty ruling, the military shooter scene, and Delta Force is making a comeback as a free-to-play game with massive multiplayer maps leading the charge. This revival of the classic tactical shooter also brings a campaign focused on the Battle of Mogadishu, heavily inspired by the 2001 Ridley Scott film Black Hawk Down. I think that's so cool. I mean, how many free-to-play games actually offer a campaign mode in it? That's going to be quite revealing. But let's go ahead and show you guys some gameplay.
So something interesting I've seen about this game is it's trying to be the next big replacement for 3 different games: Call of Duty, Battlefield, and Escape from Tarkov, because it has 3 different modes that play like each of those games. We'll see how that is in terms of it being successful or not, but I have high hopes for it.
Yeah, I'm more thinking along the lines of the most recent news with X Defiant that was made from Ubisoft, and now they are pulling the plugs and saying by June 2025 we are not going to be continuing this game. And why did that happen? Oh, it's because of Black Ops 6. They are the Call of Duty killer. They basically took them from bit their kneecaps off. It was like Coach Dan Campbell with the Motor City Detroit Lions, man. He's like, we're going to go for your kneecaps first and we're going to take everything from you. And and I think that's the only thing I'm a little bit worried about with Delta Force. Like, it might have this high momentum in the beginning. And I think the only other problematic problem is, again, it is what they're calling it an open beta right now because it launches exclusively on PC today. So start downloading it after the show. Okay. After the show, please. But like, I'm super excited about this, but I do feel like it's kind of missing its mark, not going to the console route. I'm not too sure what that's all about. Maybe they might be offering that in the new year. We'll have to wait and see. But we always want to jump into a new kind of like open world Battlefield game, and this might be the new switch up. We'll have to see what's good. But yes, it's coming out exclusively on PC today. But let's go ahead and start to switch some gears because we got some industry talk. HenricK, break it down.
Well, we all know Elon Musk, right? That guy who's so rich. Well, he has a new mission: create video games to take on the gaming giants. After Dogecoin creator claimed game developers and journalists were ideologically captured, Elon Musk hopped onto X, his platform, to announce, quote, "Too many game studios are owned by massive corporations. At xAI is starting an AI game studio to make games great again."
Because that's what we asked for. Thank you, Elon.
I guess we're getting Sonic with a side of Tesla, but they're not going to leave out the panel gaps. There's going to be some gaps in the gameplay, maybe. We'll have to see.
Yeah, will the glass actually shatter like it actually does in those Cybertrucks, or are you going to finesse us too?
Exactly.
Will AI fix that?
But, of course, gamers responded to the news with the following comments. So let's get those going.
Yeah, come on now. Let's get right on into it. The first comment that we got here is, it's time. AA games are outperforming AAA blout this year by an order of magnitude. AAA budgets of these massive corporate games are unsustainable. 8 to 12 studios spread out over the world to make one game is hugely inefficient. Mythical Man month on steroids. $300 million to $1 billion budgets competing for 5 to 10 slots a year between success and failure. High risk means no new ideas and the same recycled slop. There are already collapsing. Meanwhile, AA studios with $40 to $70 million budgets are delivering 5 to 10 times the returns and taking all the top sales slots this year. Do you completely agree with this statement? I feel like there was a lot of AAA games that did very, very well this year. But
yeah. I mean, the whole thing about the AAA landscape is that when you have these big, huge budgets, you're really taking a risk. And I feel like a lot of the companies have not wanted to take risks because they want to have a return on the investment, right? But at the same time, it's a little bit of a feedback loop because them not taking risks means, why am I going to buy the same game year over year from you? And why am I going to get the same game that's just like other company is doing as well when I could just, pay maybe $40 and get the same game
Yeah, that's
from
true.
a double A studio, that is actually trying to do something different.
Yeah, or just don't make a single player game and then add a season pass. Like, give me the full game that I paid for. Like, that's another infuriating thing. Let's go into the next comment. Excellent. Please buy the Dungeons and Dragons license. Okay, that's kind of funny because there's rumors out there that Hasbro is considering selling off their license, and that would open up the opportunity for Dungeons and Dragons to leave the board games, I guess.
Well, they did have that movie, so they've been doing other things.
That's true, too.
In terms of games, they haven't really been doing much.
Yeah.
So maybe it's time for someone to hop in and do something.
Yeah, you think of Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Dungeons and Dragons is over here like Digimon. We're here. We're waiting for our opportunity. The best games almost always come from unknown studios with lots of creativity and execution. Then the big corporations buy them out and make them unplayable. Are you describing Elon Musk? like, wouldn't that be essentially the same thing?
Yeah, he is really like the richest person in the world, isn't he?
Well, he's definitely up there. I mean, that's why it makes it kind of funny. The next comment that we got is crypto gaming super cycle. Yeah, I mean, some people kind of joking about the whole idea that's like, if it ain't Battle Pass, it's Web3 gaming. you know, trying to implement this kind of style. Yeah, pick your poison. We also got a meme here that reads, really? A gaming of your talents playing 90 games? Well, it's a DEI-free life. And so, okay, that's kind of funny because like some people are debating whether Musk is actually going to implement AI into his studio or whether he's just like, I am going to be the guy that will save us from Dragon Age the Veilguard or some shit like that. I will be the guy that will stop this pronoun war. And the last, make gaming great again. And the meme reads, man, I can't wait for next gen graphics. Man, I can't wait for the next gen graphics, which is, going from Zelda to Lara Croft. And then he goes, man, I can't wait for the next gen graphics. Maybe that was Alloy. And then there's a Hunchback of Notre Dame, and we don't know what the hell we are looking at. So take it for what you will on that last meme. So like that's the thing, HenricK. Like Elon Musk says, too many game studios are owned by massive corporations. But do you believe the guy who's leading a fleet of huge companies and is one of the richest people in the world can create the next big hit with an AI video game studio? Or is this just the classic case of the pot calling the kettle, well, electric?
Well, here's the thing about Elon Musk. Whether you hate the guy or not, and I'm not a huge fan of him, have a disclaimer before I say anything. But he does have, money, and with money comes the ability to actually hire people who know what they're doing. And you can see that with how one of his companies, SpaceX, has been pretty successful in terms of leading the charge in terms of space exploration and innovating in that field. I mean, they just recently had a big milestone where they were able to catch a rocket instead of having to, land it in the ocean somewhere and then transport it back to the launch pad.
That was remarkable. That is.
Yeah, it sounds simple, but it's actually a very big feat in space travel.
Yeah, I think the thing with Elon, though, HenricK, is that he always finds a way to promote some of his other companies. And I think that's where this all came into. Like, he's coming in, he's going, hey, look, I got this AI that's called xAI, and they build themselves as, quote, working on building artificial intelligence to accelerate human scientific discovery, guided by our mission to advance our collective understanding of the universe. And so the company is perhaps best known for Grok. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's their Chat GPT style bot available in the X Premium subscribers, feature. So Musk started that back in March 2023. That is xAI. And so I just feel like he gets asked these questions and then he slips in like, hey, I really do got this amazing AI tool. Like, I don't see why we can't make this happen. And so I think that's where people are kind of wondering. Like, I know he hasn't really said whether like he would be using AI to write the games or write the codes for them, but given that xAI being the parent company of this studio, I think it's kind of safe to say that we would assume that he would be using the AI in most of the development process. And it's no different than what I've been calling for all this year. I don't see no fear in AI. I think you have to embrace it. It's not going away anytime soon. If anything,
really
it's going to ramp up
Chris,
production.
On how much AI is being used and whether it's being used in lieu of actually being creative or not.
Well, I guess where are you coming from? Are you more worried about during the story element? Because that's not necessarily what I'm saying. I'm saying more of like when it comes to the more the artistic, creative approach, the development process.
Yeah. When it comes to things like if you're going to use AI to do a mundane task that your artists are not really going to want to do because it's going to be too time consuming.
What could take them 30 days could be crunched down in a week, maybe. Like we heard from Electronic Arts CEO, he was saying the same thing is being implemented with their own. Well, remember, it was more of a mock-up video. We haven't actually seen the practice. But people are thinking this behind the scenes, a lot of these AAA studios. And so I don't see the fear. I think where people are most freaking out is like, I don't want an AI story. Like the reports when Ubisoft last year, when they were like, hey, we got this Ghost Rider NPC, tool.
And then there was also that other thing they announced where it was like they were working on maybe having AI on NPCs where you can just like have a full-on conversation with them.
Yeah.
It didn't really feel like it was that lifelike though, like it was missing some quality to it. That you would
I
have
can guarantee you that the people
if it was made by a handcrafted team of people. Or
but
maybe
you feel like the
person.
people at Rockstar Games would absolutely love that. I mean, considering how, you see with Red Dead Redemption 2, the massive script that they had to deal with, I can only imagine how many words are going to be said in the new Grand Theft Auto 6 game. So maybe that could crunch down some of that like nonsense that's not really pushing the story forward, but it's just the pedestrians walking down the street that kind of bring the ambiance in a sense to it.
See how it gets implemented, really, I guess is what it comes down to.
Yeah, we're not necessarily saying AI voices. We're not saying that, but maybe that might help just like, you know what? We just need some guy walking down Vice City. What would they sound like? Just pump me out a bunch of scripts and we're going to get some of our voice performers to kind of fiddle around with it. I don't know. I don't really see the problem with all that. But then again, we want to know from you, the gamers. I mean, the real question is, do you have faith that Musk can actually create a great video game? Can he make video games great again? And why do they always have to make it into another political statement? Like, that's just so freaking lame, one. And two, do you think AI is suitable in the workforce when it comes to developing storytelling, CGI, artistic route, all that and so much more? Let us know what's good. And, on a final note, HenricK, it just got me thinking, did you see that story with Netflix and Arcane and how they posted an AI poster?
Oh, yeah. People got really mad about that.
People got really mad about that. So, like, maybe, the artists, they need some love. So let us know what's good. We definitely want to hear all the different vibrant conversations around this topic. But HenricK, are you ready to move it along?
Absolutely. Let us know what's going on with Tencent, Chris.
Yeah, this one's wow. Players are accusing Tencent's new game, Light of Moltrium, of looking like it took a page straight out of Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West. So, developed by Polaris Quest, a Tencent subsidiary, it does have some fresh features like co-op and multiplayer modes, stuff like that, and shelter crafting. Oh wait, that sounds like Power World, doesn't it? Oh shit.
Yeah.
But anyways, social media is buzzing with complaints that it's a bit borrowing a little too much from Guerrilla Games. And so basically it's like Horizon with a few innovative copy-paste additions. So gamers reacted to the apparent plagiarism with the following. So let's go ahead and read the first comment here, which, the classic Spider-Man meme. There's knockoffs, then there's epic level knockoffs. And this gentleman...
for a second though, like if I take off my glasses, which disclaimer, I'm very blind without my glasses.
Yeah.
So if you're not, just take a step back for a moment and take a look at those posters. They look very much the same.
Why'd you have to remind me that I'm feeling blind like Elton John, dude? Like, no, this is horrible. Yeah, it does. Wow. Like, if you're blind,
like, even down to where the colors are,
Yeah. Yeah, that poster looks way too freaking close. Like that. Wow. And ripoff, I see inspiration. So, okay, that's funny because the bottom clip is from the latest Zelda game. Like, okay, we could have put Fortnite. They're parachuting on in too.
That's true, yeah.
What about Warzone?
Hey, don't
Like,
let Nintendo see this because Nintendo will come after them for the flying feature, the paragliding feature.
yeah, or like, what about the new Delta Force that's dropping today? Are they gonna just drop us on the ground? Can I start up in the air, or is that not allowed? Like, what are we doing? The next comment we got here is these are some of the characters for the new Horizon ripoff from Asia, and that's so funny when you look at this clip because from the previous poster, you're like, yeah, it does look like Alloy. It looks like a redhead, girl, and then all of a sudden it turns around and you're like, what is that? Is that from Final Fantasy? Like,
Yeah,
what are we looking
it doesn't
at?
look like Aloy.
It doesn't anymore. Yeah, like the outfit and what she's wearing. Yeah, sure, but I'm not seeing it now. And so that's where maybe they might win. But accusing, just take a look at it. The machines are the exact same color as the ones in Horizon and look almost identical. It's a blatant ripoff. And the protagonist is a woman with red hair. Well, we just debunked that, dude. It's not redhead, but we get your point, man. It definitely looks very, 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 very close. And let's go into the next one. It looks like a total ripoff. That's not even any argument. Yeah, I don't see the need to say accuse. It's a definition of a ripoff. It's fairly factual. And last, Mecha Animals sounds like a toy I would see in a commercial for an early 2000s. And then one guy on Reddit literally named Mecha Animals like, my time has come. And like, dude, you can sue Tencent. So that's really, really funny. People are getting kind of a kick out of this whole like rip-off thing. But HenricK, I got to throw it to you. Like, is Light of Motrium just a co-op version of the Horizon series with some shelter building thrown in? Or is it just the kind of blatant plagiarism that, I don't know, makes you wonder if the developers accidentally left their notes in the office printer? Like, didn't they just drop a Lego adventure game for Horizons and then this drops? Like, what are we doing?
Well, this definitely at the very least looks heavily inspired by other games, including Horizon, obviously. But you know what else was heavily inspired by a game out there? Genshin Impact, heavily inspired by Breath of the Wild. And I think they're doing just fine by themselves. So we'll have to see when the actual game comes out, or at least when more gameplay comes out, if it's a blatant ripoff, or if they're just taking a lot of inspiration and then adding in
directly
their
from
own
the
stuff,
website that describes the game as an open world adventure set in a land where human civilization has ceased to exist. It's like, okay, that's a little odd. And then it's like it's inhabited by mechanical animals known as mecha animals, and you got large gorilla, deer, and bull. And like obviously, you play the Horizon series, and they're doing it like a little bit more mechanical, prehistoric dinosaurs, and it's like, oh, that's where they got you. But then obviously you see some reindeer kind of effects inside the game, bulls as well. So it's like, who are they kidding themselves? And it's like, oh, the one thing that they're not doing right that we're going to bring to the gamers is that you can tame and you can train them. And I just don't know if that's even enough to be able to, convince people to even want to play that game. I don't know. But then, we also, I kind of argued this as well when it came to Pokemon suing Power World. I think it's totally wrong to be able to sue somebody for game mechanics.
No,
when
yeah,
it
100%.
looks, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's like that shouldn't even be a thing. I don't even understand how you can even copyright stuff like that. But when it comes to like blatant ripoffs of artwork, and you just look at the poster that we just showed you, like
it's very, very evident.
Yeah. And so I don't know, to you, the gamers out there, like, is this just like a blatant ripoff, or is this something that you're interested in? Do you feel like Tencent's gonna like really convince people to move on from what Sony's got? I mean, I've even saw jokes online, HenricK, that they're like, oh, Sony can't even sue because Tencent's got so much money. They're just gonna have to let it be. Who knows what's gonna happen? It's such an early stage. There is no release date as of yet for this new game, but we're just gonna have to wait and see whether it carries that momentum in the new year. But hey, let's have some fun towards the end of the show. HenricK, let's get it.
Yeah, so we're back at it again with another classic Reddit debate. And this week, our question is, which game series has been nothing but bangers?
Nothing but bangers. It can't, if there's one game that's questionable, you're already out. Okay,
yeah.
like we're talking
and
about,
that is a hard question to answer.
Yes.
Because it's like asking which fast food chain has the best fries.
Yeah, that's a good point. Who does have the best fries?
well, everyone does have strong opinions about that. And I'm going to say right now, my best, the best fries, in my opinion, has to go to Carl's Jr.'s waffle fries.
What? Oh, that is a boof take.
Get that?
Oh,
You get that fresh.
Take.
You're getting good fries.
No, okay, I can already tell where this Reddit debate's gonna go. That's a horrible take. What about the Wingstop
clearly
fries?
everyone has strong opinions about fries.
What about
and everyone has
fries?
strong opinions about video game series that are nothing but bangers. You know,
okay, fair
Halo
enough.
versus Zelda. Which one's better, huh?
That's true, HenricK. I got you on that.
So yeah, of course, we got comments because gamers do want to share their thoughts on this one.
Yes, they do. So let's go right into the first comment. Never played a Ratchet and Clank game I didn't love, but then we have a follow-up. Only debatable bad ones are the PSP spin-offs. I personally find them enjoyable on the PS2 with the second stick, but I understand why most don't care for them at all. That's actually pretty fair. I love the Ratchet and Clank series, but when it was on the PSP, when you're so used to the 2 joysticks, it's a game changer. What do you think, HenricK?
True. Yeah, I think there hasn't been a bad Ratchet and Clank game, honestly.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And did you see that really cringy clip with Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp? I think they got their own podcast together. It was dropped on the Rams social media Instagram page, and Matthew Stafford's all talking about how it's so hard to play video games with 2 joysticks. I'm like, dog, you're 36. You're not even old. Like, what are we talking about? That made me laugh so hard. But in this case, I can kind of understand. Like, sometimes it just didn't translate that well. And yeah, if you're thinking about making a portable, do what you're doing with the PC portal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, bring the 2 joysticks. The Metro series. Oh my effing G. Yes. Oh.
You know, I have a confession about that series. I've never really gotten into it.
To make. You know, I'm kind of the same. I mean, I like them, but
I've only ever heard great things about them, but I've never had the inspiration to go and try them.
Yeah, like to run and be like, dude, I gotta get it. No, I don't think anybody has for you. I could be wrong, but then there's 806 people that agree with this gentleman or woman is saying on their end. And Half-Life. Doom. Okay, this person put 2 different games, so he's a little bit cheating. But they're also saying Half-Life and Doom. Some may not like the direction of Doom 3, but it wasn't a bad game. But it got followed up by, I really enjoyed Doom 3 for its change of direction, but it felt more Doom adjacent compared to the others, and even the new ones. Sadly, it and the Half-Life 2 weren't fairly played by gamers for a while because of all the marketed comparisons. Online forums were almost entirely arguments of why one is better than the other, instead of why both games are great in their own right.
Yeah,
you know, I don't.
Comparing Doom 3 to Half-Life 2 is not a fair comparison.
But nobody's
they're
answering
kind of really different, you know.
But nobody's answered the question, like, as it was stated. Nothing but bangers, okay? Like, why are you gonna say what? They're like, oh, this is driving me nuts here. Super Smash Brothers. Oh, came here to say
that
this.
Is a good one.
Even the person's following up with, right? He's going, even if it's an old competitive players might not find the newer ones as good. I don't know about all of that. I feel like you can literally...
that's the thing. It's like when Brawl was out, a lot of the competitive players were like, Melee's still better. But you talk to any random person who likes playing Smash and maybe not competitively play Smash, like, there hasn't been a bad Smash game, you know? So...
Yeah. I think that's a fair point as well. And gonna say Elden Scrolls while I still can. I like how they slipped that in.
Yeah, once Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, that might have to change.
Yeah, this is depressingly accurate. And last, as long as Suicide Squad killed the Justice League doesn't count, then Arkham games, including Arkham Shadow. Arkham Origins is underrated as hell. Love Batman's voice actor. And my favorite adoptions of Batman are his year 1 or rookie years. Yeah, I think a lot of us can stand by that. But again,
yeah, the Arkham games are a great game.
Nothing but bangers. And we do love seeing you gamers join the conversation. We do have here Captain Price that says, what about GTA? And you know what? I do love that you're saying this, Captain Price, because originally, HenricK, I would have said this because that was like the first thing that like clicked and the light bulb went on. It was like, okay, initial reaction first for me would have been the Grand Theft Auto series. But like, come on, dude, let's face it, Captain Price, okay? The Windows and the Game Boy version of the game, isn't fun. So I had to eliminate Grand Theft Auto. But if we're thinking, from PlayStation and up, then I'm with you. But again, the question is nothing but bangers. So HenricK, you want me to start off? Do you want to go first? You better not steal mine. That's all I know.
I'll let you go first with this one because
okay.
But I don't want it to be where I say something and then it gets stolen according to you.
Yeah, because then I'm a rage after the show. I am gonna go with the Mario Kart series. I think they are
that's a great choice.
Powerhouse of pure unfiltered fun since its debut. I mean, it dropped nothing but bangers. I mean, think about it when Super Mario Kart came out on the Super Nintendo. Then it had their mind-blowing mechanics from Mario Kart 8, Deluxe. I just feel like it's incredible. I feel like they're constantly perfected the formula of just being accessible for everyone, but then you could still get those OG gamers to come on in and still find their own competitive kart racing. That's my verdict, and I stand by it. What about you, HenricK?
It's actually good that I did let you go first because I initially did want to say Mario Kart until right before the show. I was like, you know what, though? I should pick something different. I wanted to switch it up, and I'm going to say the Zelda series. Because there has not been a bad Zelda game, in my humble opinion. Yeah, maybe someone out there disagrees.
Someone might argue.
Someone might, but I really think that every single Zelda game that's come out has offered something that has been a great experience.
What about Uncharted?
Ooh,
Uncharted's
that's a good
fantastic series. If no one's ever played that series, that's a fantastic one. Just don't watch the movies. The movies will hurt.
You still don't want to let that one down. You didn't like that they cast Marky Mark.
Oh, Marky Mark, you are not my Sully. Shame on you. Why do they have to do this to our beloved video games? Why, please? But, what is it that we're missing? Is there a video game out there, a series that's dropped nothing but bangers? We want to hear from you, the gamers. But, man, this has been such a fantastic show. We always love you, the gamers, for joining us live every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because without your guys' support, this show would not be possible. And we just want to take a moment during this time to share my QR code for my YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a live show. HenricK the Wreck.
Yeah, go ahead and scan that QR code up there as well. You go to my YouTube channel, go join the conversation. Have some fun. That's what we're all about, all right?
Come on now. And we will see you next week, fam. You got a lot of video games to start installing now. We already let you know what's good. So I'm assuming you're going to be staying up all night. Pack up on them energy drinks, whatever keeps you up, whether it's the coffee. We'll see you next week. Peace.